My dad and I have started a Youth to Gold challenge. A challenge that could take us 13 seasons to complete, where we are only allowed to sign teenagers and not allowed to use players 30 or above from the second season. But if one of us is to win the Champions League before the 13 seasons, it's an instant win. If not, it's down to whoever accumulates the most points from being more successful or selling players we have bought for huge profits. Basically, Youth to Gold is buying young talents and making money for your club. And on this journey, Dad and I have found ourselves in France at Nantes and Lorient. Dad's recent cup win in season 5 matches my cup win from the season before, but there's no doubt that Dad deserves to be ahead with his fantastic league form. Currently smashing me in the points 13 to 21, but we all know things can turn around very quickly in Youth to Gold. Dad kicked off this summer rushing a transfer over the line just before the player turned 20 years old, days later for over £20 million. I might be 8 points behind Dad, but Saint Etienne and their fantastic team with over £100 million in the transfer budget are offering me an interview and not Dad. I obviously said no and cracked on with selling Corin Madden to make sure I had some money to spend this summer. And that allowed me to sign a player using installments to afford him a high potential right back from Brazil named Jose Lucas. I actually sold both my fullbacks, but Marcus East is going to give me significant money again to spend in the transfer market to improve this team with £16 million going into my budget. Not to mention, I found a replacement for him for a fraction of the cost, just $250k for what I think is a really good left back from Romania. Dad was still active during this time, selling and buying players, but he had much bigger problems. As on the pitch, Nantes have been really poor and failed to pick up a single win so far, leaving him panicking on what system to deploy for the season. Well, Dad, it's been a bit of a bad season at the start for you there.
Tinkerman's not tinkering very good, as I could say.
No, which meant you've had to tinker rewind.
Yes.
Tinker back to what you were using previously. That worked.
Yeah, I bought a winger, didn't I? And I tried to play with a winger and just change it a little bit. It wasn't working, so
No.
I've got to make my mind up now before we simulate for the rest of the season. So go with what you know. So I've gone back to the formation that's kept me going so far.
Yeah, I mean, you spent £22 million on bringing this guy in just before he turned 20. You got it done immediately. But he does play up front, and you are playing two strikers.
Yeah, so it's not a waste of 22 million.
No.
And he is a good player, so...
Then we've got a centre-back from PSG coming in. Again, he's turned 20 recently. A centre midfielder from Poland, which was a good £2.5, you wish, £2.5 million, and Neil Danel, who came in on the left side there for £5 million. None of them really challenging for the first team.
No, they weren't, no. And to be honest, I've been finding it hard to get any players, new players, to come in and challenge this team. Yeah. So it's just a case of backing the squad up and hopefully loan a few out, and then they progress from there, really.
Yeah, which you have done. You've loaned a few players out, including what would be one of your best right backs. But he does look like he could be quite a talented fullback, that guy. You've also lost your keeper for a while. He's out for another 5 weeks.
That ain't too good.
I mean, that fractured his lower arm.
I can't blame the last couple of results on that neither, because I think it was the last game he'd done that.
Against Strasbourg. Yeah, so you conceded 4. Yeah. But yeah, without a win so far at the start of the season, the good thing is you have picked up 3 points. It's not all bad. No. But I mean, before this, I've never even heard of this team here, and they've done your 3-1. Yeah. And you didn't score into the 92nd minute.
I've just got to hope that I can get myself back into it again, instead of going down that road where you're sort of like stuck in a rut where if you don't get a win, you get the momentum going again. So
I really feel like every forward step we have a backward step.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Almost immediately. That's for both of us as well. Each time we have a good season, we have a terrible one after. Yeah. Anyway, you've got Tottenham to play, Dad, which will be interesting for you on the final day of the Champions League phase.
I've got to try and get it done before there, ain't I?
Yeah, Tottenham at the end, Liverpool in the middle.
Liverpool, easy game against Club Brugge, so just get them out of the way. Easy game against Villarreal.
Yeah, all these easy games.
The hard game at the end, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
I ain't going anywhere in that, am I?
No. So, transfer-wise for myself, I started off by bringing in Botafogo's Jose Lucas. I've now got 3 spaces for foreign players, because all the foreign players that I originally brought in have been in France long enough that they count as French. So this guy, Jose Lucas, was my first signing as a right back, and do you know what? I think he's probably going to be better in the long run than the one I've already got. So I might give him some game time from the off. So 5 appearances he's had already. Hasn't played that well, but there we go. Going on forward, I've got Tadaro. Looks like an okay goalkeeper, to be fair. The Italian, always do good goalkeepers. And for £3 million, it ain't too bad. I sold my left back, of course. So I actually brought in £42 million in total. But my left back and right back both went. So Gordinho, who I was using previously, he went to Napoli. £5 million I bought him from Sampdoria, so then I brought in a Sampdoria keeper. But I brought in a left back to replace the left back that I sold. Romanian, I do like my Romanians. I'd argue to say he's probably just as good as the one I had. He just doesn't have any potential to get much better.
Already.
Yeah, 250k, that will do for now. Good physicals, good mental attributes. He'll do a job for now. Oscar Fortes from Real Zaragoza, £3 million. Good option there, but I've loaned him straight out. Get him some football straight away. He's played 5 games in the league below, which is good. And Marko Jovic, £15 million. Again, looks quite good, but I've loaned him out to a club in our league, Reims, and he has played first team football for them. So I'm thinking I just need to get these players out on loan. The likes of Pedro Simos has also gone out on loan as well, trying to give him some first team football, and hopefully he scores goals. As you can see, this is what you got to do in Youth to Go. You got to loan out a lot of players. If you remember him, I've signed him recently, and he's gone out on loan the last couple of seasons. So just trying to get them to be better by playing first team football in top divisions if possible. But I have changed into a Christmas tree formation. I've tinkered every single season. Yeah. Father like son. But I am locking a few players in. As I mentioned, Jose Lucas, I want to play him. So in the inverted wing backs, I mean, I've used this formation in the past. I do love this style of play because they roam forward and you end up having quite a lot of players there in that centre attacking midfield spot. But I am running a complete forward to try and link them up. Usually I'll go with an advanced forward or a poacher, but I went for a complete forward in this man, who I think can do a job for me there. Aaron Barry is actually going to go in that defensive winger spot as well. And how I started the season is a lot better in comparison to yourself, Dad. But I have lost the last 2 against harder opposition, of course, but only 1-0s. And I was sent off there.
And it was a penalty.
Yeah, so not too bad. And El Yawahi scored for Marseille 1-0 there. But I got a draw against Angers and 2 wins against Nimes and Strasbourg, which meant, and 2 clean sheets there. I thought I was off to an absolute flyer. So this season then, as we're going in, which is season number 6, I think, is going to be one where I am chasing. But, interesting. How does it play out? Because so far, it's flipped around where I'm closer to the top and you're fighting for relegation after 5 games. So we'll see how long that stays that way. Because if I could just finish above you for a season, that would be nice. That would be great. Let's see what happens. My plan to finish above Dad meant I had to also improve my form in the league. And that also means defeating Dad when we clash in mid-November and Junior Krupi fight us into the lead. But with Dad being the home side, he was always going to fight back hard, and they equalised on half-time. Second half, however, was dominated by us, and we found the lead again through Miguel Lopez. And we topped off the 3 points with 10 minutes to go through Ramovic. Despite that loss though, Dad had picked up a good chunk of wins and draws to actually sit level on points with me and only behind on goal difference. We were both still in the cup at this point, and Dad just picked up enough points to qualify for the Champions League. Although he was then battered in the knockout playoff round over 2 legs by Saint Etienne. I had dropped out of the Coupe de France 4-0 losers to Lille, who then went into the semi-finals to face Dad's Nantes side, where again, there was no PSG to be seen. The fixture between Dad and I was approaching soon though, and he had jumped ahead of me by 2 points in the league in what was becoming a very close league table. Before that though, Dad's Nantes side fell short in the semi-finals of the Coupe de France 1-0 to Lille. And so the bragging rights, and most importantly the points, came down to our game against each other, in which Diallo sent Lorient into the lead. Not before Serbins run down the right hand side in the second half, open up some space to find Gramada to equalise. With the game being so close, it was going to be a final goal to steal it, and Gramada again somehow squeezed in a winner for Dad and gifted him another point. Oh, for God's sake, 1 position above.
Yeah, but a lot of points will make 9 points.
9 points in between us, yeah. I threw it away at the end of the season. Look at that, including a loss to you, which obviously gave you an extra point as well.
You lost 4 games there.
So you gain 2 points from that. But then obviously the 3 points for obviously winning the league. Because I thought, win this, finish above Dad, that'll be good. I beat you early on in the season, which was great. Unbelievable, really.
I'm really disappointed because I had such a bad start, and I'm still close to the team above me.
Yeah.
And only a couple of points, a bit more than the team in fourth. It's an Etienne.
I mean, positive stuff. We're both in Europa League.
Yeah.
So that's decent. That's quite
both
nice. Monaco getting relegated, though. Big club to go down.
Yeah.
If we're looking at the player stats, Gramada got the second highest amount of goals there.
He's coming through now. He's a good striker, isn't he?
Yeah. You've also got Winderkild, who's done quite well in terms of the average rating, playing up front alongside him. And Hoyenhor got 10.
He come back from breaking his arm.
Yeah, he did it right, didn't he? Considering he missed a few games. He played 31. Only conceded 36.
Not bad.
Very good. So when he came back, you were a lot stronger.
Yeah, you can see why I climbed up the table then.
Yeah, absolutely. So really good, to be fair. Let's look at the past positions then. We can see like that overtake towards the end there. I had a downward spiral. I was in 5th place for a long time. Well, for a bit as well, for a couple of games, and it failed miserably. Although you overtook me really early on in the season, actually.
Yeah, did you?
And then I kind of we were neck and neck for a while, and I got a bit ahead and then lost it. But there we go. The cup competitions, of course, I didn't do very well in. Neither did yourself, Dad. You were the semi-final. We were both knocked out by Lille. So they went on to win the competition, beating Choiseul. PSG just do not enjoy winning this cup, do they?
They don't.
They haven't won it for a few seasons now. We've been in between them, as you can see. But let's see then, because on Lorient, on myself, you can see the bad end of the season started when I lost to you, because after that, I didn't win a game after that. And that's what gave away all those points for you to finish slightly higher. I mean, at least I beat Rennes 2-1. That's always a positive, isn't it? But yeah, got you early on in the season. You got your payback and beat me. I actually had a double header against Rennes. Suck on that. But let's have a look at player statistics for my I almost said Rennes side then. I was passed out. My Lorient side. 14 from Miguel Lopez in 18 starts. I don't know why, because I actually asked him to start as many games as possible. So what happened there? I don't know. It looks like I maybe forgot to lock them in, because Jose Lucas did play that many games either. Never mind. Pedro Somos actually scored just as many goals out on loan. So maybe I locked in, kept the wrong player.
Yeah.
Don't know. They're both kind of as good as each other. Diallo is looking good, and he's unhappy, and he's wanted by Real Madrid and Dortmund. I ain't selling him anytime soon until that valuation goes over 100. Junior Karupi as well is 27. He's only got a couple of years left in the side. Ricky van den Broek. Do you know what? I still don't know about that guy. He's gotten a little bit better. I don't know. His hair just puts me off. But there we go. My transfer budget is non-existent. £1 million. Awful. Absolutely terrible. But Dad, let's see your squad statistics. So you've got 29 goals from Gramada. Todorovic has done quite well out on loan. 15 goals in 15 appearances. In 31 appearances, isn't too bad at all. Winderkill got 12. Lujic, the winger, 17. So that's quite good. But he is wanted. And he's over £100 million as well. Chelsea and Liverpool both want him. Is it time to cash in?
100 million figure, in it. It's, you want to keep the best player because we want to do well in this.
Yeah.
But that 100 million figure is the
10 points. Especially because you only bought him for 6? Yeah, 6.5 million. So if you do sell him, you don't have to sell him by that much to get 100 million profit.
No.
And that is 10 points. I think you're guaranteed at least 5 points if you do decide to sell him.
100%.
It's just whether you can persuade somebody to go up high enough for that. But yeah, interesting. And you have £16 million. Your finances are still slightly better than mine. You actually have a positive bank balance, where I don't think I've had one since I joined the club. So a very, very slight had one there for a while. But yeah, we're still 51, minus 51 in the red there. So it hasn't been too great for me. But hey, that's where we're going. In the Champions League, of course, you got to the knockout playoff round. Bit disappointing to lose to Saint Etienne, but again,
it's a new league. I don't.
Yeah, it's
so disappointed.
They're so good though, but not a bad performance in that, considering the teams you had to face. You did lose though to Spurs 5-1. You drew to Liverpool and you won 4 games including the Villarreal and Real Sociedad and Club Brugge and Partizan. So not bad at all.
No, don't worry to get there.
Let's have a look at the points, shall we? So Season 6, Omega Luke just gained the 1 point, but Omega Dad gained 3, which means there's a 10-point gap now as Omega Luke is on 14 and Omega Dad is on 24. With no transfer budget and falling behind, I need to sell players, and that's what I began doing. Even decided to sell my right winger, who to be fair has been good for us but brought in some good value. Dad, however, was losing his #1 target this summer, a Japanese wonder kid, to Manchester City, which hilariously didn't happen to my #1 target as he rejected Manchester United and Saint Etienne to come to Lorient, an exciting wonder kid striker for just 3.5 million. But the story of the summer was Dad being offered potentially £100 million profit for his Serbian left winger, which could mean 10 points. Dad had decided to accept a huge offer, which when he sells would immediately be 5 points, but with the potential of an extra 5 points based on appearances. And so he spent the remainder of the summer bringing in replacements, using the money that was brought in, sometimes overpaying as we both struggled to find a similar player to Lujic. Meanwhile though, I'm once again using a new system and introducing new players to the first team that I had signed this summer at a bargain cost. And although my results have not been amazing at the start of the season, I can see some progress. Well, it's a possible 10 points. It's definitely 5. We've just got to wait to see if he does play the games, which then activates it to make it £110 million. Because right now it's 91, but Lujic has gone, Dad.
Well, they tempted me with the over the 100 million figure, didn't they? So, sorry, mate, you gotta go. One player's not going to make me win the Champions League, so the 10 points is a big bonus for me with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have done exactly the same if I was in your situation. Only 22, and you had 3 good years with him. Yeah. But it's one of those ones where it's like every year he's had a really good season for you as well. How much is it going to cost you losing him?
You just got to jump in and take the money, haven't you?
Yeah. A few players going out on loan for you there. Henry Diallo going out for a bit of money as well, which is quite nice. Mario Marin, you've loaned out for quite a few seasons. A bit of development going on there. But let's look at the players that you did decide to bring in, because Victor Hugo was the first one, £6 million from Sao Paulo, left back, gone straight out on loan. You got Seiko Barlow coming in from Valencia. I think you went for him last year and he signed a new contract and rejected you. This time round, he came back, for about double the price as well. £25 million though. This was the replacement. I don't think he's a £25 million player.
I don't, but it's the best I could get for that position. That was the problem I had. And I wanted I've got one player already in that position, and I wanted another one. Because if you get an injury, I'm buggered with playing that sort of formation tonight. So this is a guy that's going to be the second player probably in that position. Hey, I've got 93 million, haven't I?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it.
And the difference between a player in 2 or 3 million and that 20 million is quite a bit of a difference, really. We were really struggling, really. Well, I was struggling to get some players.
Really struggling to find players, aren't we?
They're just not sort of like, there's no really good. You can look at some players and you go, you can see he's going to develop into something better.
Yeah.
But the ones that we're looking at the moment,
I actually think in the last few years we're getting no development.
No.
I'm like,
don't seem to be.
I'll play this guy as many times as possible. It's like, did he even play?
Well, you mentioned a player there that I've loaned out for 3 seasons, with 2 seasons. Yes, I don't think he's developed. That Mario Marin.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually.
It's exactly the same as what he did at 21.
And when
19.
I bought him, I thought this guy's going to be good. He's finishing at 17 and that.
Well, you bought him for 300k as well.
So I just don't, I can't see where the development is. This guy, so I'm going to have to end up selling him in a minute.
Yeah. Then you got Nick Lathouers from Salzburg, £6.75 million. He looks quite good, to be fair.
He covers
Belgium.
everything I play up front. So
yeah, got into the second team for now to see if you can get second team football.
Yeah,
first team football. Then you got Jacob Karafiat from Sparta Prague. Right back again, quite good. Right back, to be fair, class as a decent League One style of right back. Actually played 4 games for you and got an assist to player of the match, so he's had a good start to his career. And then Kevin Metzer, who from FC Juarez, 4.2 million, looks like a decent striker. Loan back to them.
Yeah,
which was a good idea, I think, because he was getting first-team football. He scored 6 goals. Well, obviously, they're in mid-season in Mexico. Hasn't done anything since. Now that he's got his big move, he's
sitting back on his laurels and thinking, I'm not going to get injured while I'm out here.
Exactly. So before he goes back to France, so we'll see how Juarez is. But I love their badge. Sorry, the Kevin Metzer. I love Juarez's badge. It just looks absolutely epic, doesn't it? So yeah. good. Let's see how they develop for next season. But tactically, you've gone to this. Stuck with this.
Stuck with this, yeah. I came off it, and it cost me 4 or 5 games, so I'm sticking with it. And it virtually is the same team. That Mendes is the player that is the replacement, so it virtually is the same team, so fingers crossed they'll do the same thing again this season.
Yeah, okay. Myself, though, I have been buying some new players. I had a little bit of money thanks to a couple of players going out. Obviously, there's a few that went out last season as well, but £33 million went out. Vicky van den Broek, I finally decided to cash in and sell him. I don't know. He's been a little bit... I wouldn't say he's underwhelming because last season actually was his best season, but I thought his development-wise would be a lot better considering the amount of games he played. And I finally sold Kiti as well, who came in, as if you remember rightly, in the very first season, 950k, sold him for 13 million to Saudi Arabia. Finally getting a 7 rated after years of mediocrity in my lineup. I just felt like he was never really doing anything for me, so it was time to cash in on him. And I think I've replaced quite well, to be honest. I've got players there, but the players I've brought in are mainly for the future, and I know I shouldn't be buying for the future, but there is just nothing around, is there?
No.
There's no players that we're picking up from Red Star for £6 million and they're world class right from the off anymore.
Well, I went for one player, didn't I? And was it Man City?
Man City beat.
And that was the only player that we actually found that it looked good now, didn't it?
He's the Japanese guy. Yeah.
And, he went straight to Man City. So.
Yeah. Jorge Parra was the guy that I brought in. Actually, don't look too bad. And he's going to start some games as well. I'm telling you now. The Chilean 18-year-old. I tried to get him the season before. Was not interested in leaving. Thought it was bad for his development. Here he is now. Then we've got João Pereira, who I actually beat Manchester United to his signature, which I thought was a good signing. Just turned 20 as well. Some really good physical attributes, but dribbling, finishing, and first touch of 15 always excites me with composure and off the ball. This guy could score a lot of goals, and he's already got 2 in 4 games for me this season. And then Ante Kapula from Sturm Graz. My scouts were telling me to go for him because he had very good consistency as well. It wasn't until he joined that I realised he has real problems of injuries, but the rest of him, he looks quite good. Good aggressive striker. So as a pressing forward, he might grow into something, but I've loaned him out to Dijon in the 2nd division. Played 5 games, hasn't scored a single goal yet. Never mind. Then the final signing we got is Steve Bizimana, £4.5 million. A guy who can play left back but can also play centre back. I actually think he's probably better than the left back I got now, but for some reason they don't pick him. But I'm happy for him to fight it out.
And you think, he can develop into a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's got the base attributes to start being really good. There's a lot of 11s in there. But yeah, tactically, I have switched it around again. And to be honest, I didn't mind the Christmas tree that we were using last season. I just wanted to get 2 players up front because we weren't scoring any goals. So we've got Parra playing up front in the DLF, and we've got an advanced forward which can be fought out over João Pereira and Pedro Simos, who I loaned out last season, but I'm keeping this season. Let those 2 fight it out, and I'm going to lock in Junior Krupi on the right-hand side, because obviously I sold the right midfielder, he would naturally go up front. He doesn't play there at all, but I want to just make it like my most creative player, and the defensive wingers are quite good at that. This time, Jose Lucas, you're going to play games, my friend. I'm going to make sure you play games this time round. He's already got an assist in 3 games so far. Speaking of those games, schedule, I've not won a single one yet. I have lost to PSG, but then I've got 3 draws, and they're not that bad of a draw, really, because I've been scoring goals. This one, Victor Boniface has got himself a hat-trick at 33. Fair play. Then we got an away draw to Lens, which is always quite difficult. And Saint Etienne, with all the money that they got, they equalised in the 85th minute.
You take that result, I think.
So it's neither here nor there. I'm not too worried at the minute. The Europa League fixtures I have, though, I should be progressing through, I think. I reckon I should get out of that league phase.
Yep, definitely.
Maybe even the top 8 as well. Yourself, Dag, you're also in the Europa League, but your fixtures have been a lot better. You lost in the opening game of the season 4-1. That didn't faze you. You stepped with a tactic and you haven't conceded a goal since. even beating Rennes 4-0, and we both celebrated that one. Away from home as well. Their fans were all crying, and we were laughing. Europa League fixtures for yourself. Yours is a little bit harder.
Yeah.
You have the likes of Stuttgart. We don't know how well they are in 2034, 10 years later, but Stuttgart's there.
I don't think I'd go through, though.
Yeah, Sociedad, Salzburg, a couple of tricky games, but the rest of them should give you enough to go through. There's a 10-point gap now in terms of the points. I need to do something this season to bring it back.
And I've sold a player.
And you've just sold a player which could add another 10 points. We'll have to find out. A good start to winning points back will be to beat Dad in the league. However, quite the opposite happened, and Dad wiped the floor with me when we travelled to Nantes, defeating us 4-0 on the day. And Dad was deservedly closer to the top of the league than I was sat in 3rd place. However, we clashed for a second time in the 9th round of the Coupe de France, and it was a different story on this day as we came away 2-1 winners and gained 2 points. In the Europa League, we both secured qualification with 7 games gone after some fantastic results in the league phase. However, Dad was exiting the competition in the round of 16 when he came up against Roma. And after knocking my dad out of the Coupe de France, I got as far as the quarterfinals before Lille knocked me out for a 2nd season in a row. This time on penalty kicks after they were clinical and we were not. While Dad was dropping out of Europe, I was progressing to the quarterfinals to face Napoli, who I absolutely destroyed 5-0 in the first leg. But before the second, I've got to face Dad again. And it was an embarrassing fixture for Lorient as Dad scored a worldie within the first minute and went on to win 3-0. But I am on a mission to win a European trophy, and I've got a big challenge after losing in the semi-final first leg 2-0. But it took a whole lot of luck and a hat-trick from new striker Jorge Parra, and even after being 2-2 at one point in the second leg, we managed to win 5-4 on aggregate. And with Dad finishing in 2nd place in the league, all I have to do is beat Spurs to win the Europa League. Of course, I'm very aware of the irony, but I was shocked to see that our very young side rose to the occasion, and our 2 strikers signed this season came up with crucial goals, meaning that Gilmour's goal for Spurs in the second half meant nothing more than a consolation. Europa League winners! I mean, it was obvious when I see my opponents.
Oh, I don't believe you, Tottenham. What are you doing?
Come on. I mean, along the way, I did stuff Napoli 5-0.
Yeah, you did. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I had a very ropey journey there, to be fair, because in the semi-final it was at Hammarby and they beat me in the first leg, and I was like, oh no. After defeating some big teams, then losing, I mean, no offense Hammarby, but at this point Napoli's slightly ahead of you in terms of players.
It'd be interesting to see because you had them in the league phase as well.
I did, yeah. So round of 16 Salzburg, that's where you were knocked out by Roma as well. Neither of us played in the knockout playoff round. We both did quite well. You actually finished top lot, drew 1 and won 7. So you had a great league phase campaign. I drew 2. One of them was Hammarby.
Yeah.
So I drew to both the Scandinavian teams at home and won the other 6, beating Fiorentina 5-1. Crazy. So
Roma finished 9th and they knocked me out.
Yeah, that is 7 points there for me.
Yeah,
straight
well
off the bat.
Well done.
I also got a couple of points for knocking you out of the cup, Dad. However, I got knocked out the round after, I think it was, or was a couple of rounds after that. Anyway, we did face each other. Oh, yeah, I knocked out Rennes as well. Brilliant. Should get extra points for that, to be honest. Knocked out the 9th round, 2-0. Fortunately, you gained those 2 points back because you beat me in both the league phase. Yeah. And you finish in 2nd place for the 2nd time. You're back up there.
No, that makes it interesting, doesn't it?
It does.
We're both in the Champions League.
We're both in the Champions League, which I think is the first time that's happened. I think it's the first time I've actually finished higher than 8 for a while. But there we go. You get an extra couple of points as well for finishing higher. So now it really seems like that Europa League win is all for nothing.
Points, isn't it? It's points.
It's points at the end of the day. PSG are still runaway leaders. Unfortunately, we are getting nowhere near them just yet. That Toomsy is still scoring stupid amounts of goals. There's no way we were able to buy him. No, we just never had the money.
When I had the money from selling my player, I had a quick look, and no, he was out of my league.
Yeah. So then you got Winterkills down there, but your Romanian striker is nowhere to be seen in terms of the goals. You got Hoy and Haw, the same amount of clean sheets as PSG's goalkeeper there, so that's not too bad at all. I've got no players in there, so that's fun for me. But anyway, I'm still happy. I've won myself a cup. Squad-wise, 17 goals from George Para, who I nailed in up front. But Junior Creepy from right wing got 20 goals and 17 assists.
Well done.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
The two strikers I did play up front in that advanced forward role, João Pereira, the one that I pinched from Manchester United, played more games, but scored less goals than Pedro Simão. So now it's really put me in a tricky situation, and I don't know which one's better, and I don't know which one to use, but there we go. Jose Lucas, he repaid me from that first team football. He's had a good season there with 12 assists and 6 goals for 49 games. So I am actually happy. Aaron Barry's getting a little bit better. Jonas Svek is doing okay, but I think that's a position maybe I need to look at, that DM role. I think there's a few roles, really. Amad Diallo played a lot of games from centre midfield this season. Did very well again, so I'm kind of happy with that. I don't really know where I'm going to go next in terms of bringing in a player here. And he's developed quite nicely. Mihai Ili from Romania, my Romanian left-back. I did think he would be outed this season because the left-back I did bring in. But hey, he didn't play that many games at all. He was kept out of the side by the Romanian. So I'm happy to see that. All right, I don't know then. Miguel Lopez went out on loan as well. He didn't score that many. One of them's got to go, I think, this season. Maybe I can cash in on him. Transfer budget, after winning the Europa League, 5 million, which is less than what I left in there at the end of the season, or at the start of the season anyway. So that makes me feel great. Yourself, Dad, your squad scored 19 goals from Vindekild, but Gramada only got 15.
Bad season for him.
Oh, that is a bad season. He had a major sprained knee ligament. He's out for 5 weeks there. So he missed a few games over Christmas. He wanted Christmas off, I reckon.
Yeah.
Alcorta played quite a few games then, 13 goals. Romain Jean, who was a fullback. Oh, no, that is the guy that you signed, replacement. Didn't do too bad, actually. Got 14 assists. Development's starting to be there. Look, there's we can see it a little bit better from the progress thing here. We can see if we're going by all time since you've had him, there's a few attributes that have gone up by 1. So, got to be happy with a little bit of progress, considering we're not seeing that much going on in other avenues. But hey, there we go. Your transfer budget though, 27 million. So they keep. I mean, you had that.
I left
20 million in there, didn't you?
30 million in the bank, so that should have helped the club out. So that's what I'm sort of like thinking about as well.
Yeah. But the question is, Dad, did Lujic play enough games for you to get the extra points? And so far, he hasn't, which is hilarious. Imagine paying 91 million and only giving him 7 games. That is
13.
Crazy.
13 short.
13 games short, as you can see from here. Before they will pay the extra £19 million. Once they do play him those extra 13 games, then you get the 19 million. Then you get the extra 5 points, because technically his transfer is then over £100 million in profit. But at the minute, it's only the extra 5 that you get added on, which is weird in a way, isn't it? That you're going to wait for that. But there we go. So let's have a look at the points then as we end off season number 7 of the Youth to Gold with a European trophy. So season number 7 sees both Omega Luke and Omega Dad gain 9 points, but of course Dads might have an extra 5 points added should Lujic play more games. So for now, it's still a 10-point gap with Omega Luke on 23 and Omega Dad on 33, which, considering the Europa League win, just shows how dominant Dad has been so far in Youth to Gold.